Hey Internet, Eric here. Jean-Claude Van January continues. What that is, if you're new to the channel or the concept, every month on this channel here, unless I have a live stream with Frenzy or an interview scheduled, every month has a theme. January, Jean-Claude Van January, discussing nothing but Jean-Claude Van Damme films for this month. Been overall pretty positive. Had a couple stinkers tonight. I had some pleasant surprises tonight. Is actually one of my favorites, and I gotta give, like with the last video with Cyborg, that was one of the pleasant surprises. This is a film I've seen a handful of times, and I really enjoyed. But when I was making my list of Van Damme films to discuss, it slipped my mind, and I have to give a shout out to my go-to guy for martial arts and action films, my buddy Knight from the Night Watch Zone. He wanted to make sure I put this on the list. Today I am discussing The Quest. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, what have you. This came out in 1996, actually directed by Jean-Claude Van Damme. He plays a man named Chris, who, first off, it's the main part of the story takes place in the early 20s. But movie starts off, and an old man walks into a bar. That's not a beginning of a joke. Helps the bartender get rid of some thugs. Tells his life story where he learned to fight. Then we go back all the way to the 20s, and Van Damme plays a man named Chris who is living on the streets as a hustler, street clown, any way to make a money, street performer. Got a bunch of kids working with him, a bunch of newsies, and they're pickpockets. What happens is they pick the wrong pocket. The mob is after them. Chris escapes, stows away on a boat. That boat is taken over by pirates. The head pirate is Roger Moore. They save each other's lives. Eventually, they go to an island. Roger sells Chris. Chris now learns Muay Thai for 6 months. And then now, Chris wants to go to the Forbidden City of Tibet to fight in their tournament. I don't know what it's called. Basically, the kumite for Bloodsport. Where the best fighters from around the world, it's Street Fighter, the best fighters from around the world come to the lost city of Tibet to fight in a tournament. The winner gets a gigantic dragon made out of solid gold. While there, Chris tries to win the tournament. Roger Moore and his little toady try to steal the gold, and there's a reporter there who wants to write a story about it. Really like this movie. Lots of fun. Van Damme's great. Why? No love interest, like I've been saying all month. He's got good rapport with the kids. He does not like Roger Moore at all, and that's great. He makes goo-goo eyes at the reporter. She's a pretty blonde, but that's about it. And he's a fantastic fighter. The action in this, the fights I will get to, are great. Roger Moore is such an asshole in this one. Out to make money. He introduces himself to the reporter as a guy who owns castles, blah, blah, blah. He literally sells Chris to the people on the island, right after he saves his life type of thing. And then at the end of the film, he tries to steal the dragon. He tries to steal the dragon of gold and fails miserably, and he doesn't really seem like he gives two shits. But he's good. He's very slimy. James Remar is in it. He was the original person asked to represent the United States in the kumite. I'm just going to call it the kumite. Don't really get to see him fight at all, which is disappointing. He has one very brief fist fight with Van Damme, gets bested, and that's how Van Damme, or Chris, is able to take his spot. The rest of the film, it's just him sitting in the stands pretending like he's Mickey, from Rocky, trying to cheer on Chris. The reporter lady is fine, looks pretty, that's it. That's it when it comes to acting. Characters. Okay, let's get to the fights. First off, well, you know what? Before we get to the fights, let's get to the look of this place. I love how it's a period piece. I love the look of the 20s, the city, the cars. I love the look of the underground fight area. Looks so cool. Reminiscent of Bloodsport, reminiscent of Kickboxer, and it has this Street Fighter feel to it. And I'm talking more so the game Street Fighter, because all the people, the combatants, I guess you would say, or contestants, however, they're being announced by their countries. Siam versus China. Japan versus Mongolia, that type of stuff. And it's really cool, and it's a lot of fun. I get like a little nostalgic feeling of like playing the Street Fighter game, watching that happen. Let's get to the fighting. The fighting scenes are great. First off, Jean-Claude Van Damme is great before he even gets to the tournament. He's like I said in the beginning, he's a street performer. He's painted up like a clown. He's walking on stilts and he's got to beat up thugs. Or no, he's a pickpocket and like the thugs are after him or something. He's on stilts, kicking them in the face and running away. When the pirates attack, the boat he's a stowaway on, the action in there is great. There's explosions and gunfights and fist fights, and it's so good. And then we get to the tournament itself. Van Damme's great. So I've said enough. Hardly any slow motion. The kicks to the face are great. Close-ups, all that stuff. I love almost every single one of these fighters here. First off, the guy from Mongolia is played by Michelle Kissie's brother. So it's not Tong Po. It's Tong Po's brother, who was actually Attila, the final fighter in Lionheart. I don't know how many fucking times these Kissy brothers have worked with Van Damme, but it's like he's always, throwing a bone to them. Big, badass looking motherfucker. Scarier looking here than he was in Lionheart. Of course, that's the final fight. It's a great fight. Ends up going outside the arena. Brutal and awesome. Loved it. And the individual fighters are great too. You have the one from China. And his first fight, he's moving around like a snake. You know what I mean? Second fight, he's jumping around like a monkey. The third, when he finally loses, it's like Eagle Claw. I think that's what it's called. He's really cool. I love the sumo wrestler. What I love about this tournament, no weight classes. The sumo wrestler's first fucking fight is against this little dude, and he just destroys him. Guy from Mongolia destroys everybody. There's a guy, I think he's from Spain. He's dressed like a flamenco dancer, like Don Flamenco from Punch-Out, so I'm having fun like that. And he's literally, he's like that, Like he's getting ready to dance before he fights Van Damme. That's really cool. The camera shots are good. Van Damme really knows how to get the right shots to make these fights look brutal. And again, it's all hand-to-hand and legs. Super, super cool. The only problem was, we get this build-up, too, because we get this build-up. Van Damme's going to fight the Mongolian by the end, and that fight is great. We also get this build-up of how strong the sumo is, from Japan. E Honda, you know what I mean? My only complaint is, he's destroying people left and right, and eventually, since he's like the second best guy, again, other than the guy from China who does, the animal styles, his fight against Van Damme is really good. But now it's not Mongolia versus Japan. The problem is it's a quick fight, and I'm okay with that, but I don't like, the only time I'm going to complain about Van Damme as a director is when we see those quick shots from the Mongolian punching the sumo guy in the stomach, and we get slow motion, we see the belly jiggle, and you hear like a sloshing noise. Hate that. That was kind of dumb. But the fights are great. I love the end, how Roger Moore and his little toady, his guy is an actor we've all seen. He's like one of those, hey, it's that guy actors, like not as famous as that guy actor as Dick Miller, but he plays, if you ever seen Backdraft, he's the guy that's in charge of the water flow from the truck to the hoses. He kind of reminds me of Smee a little bit in Hook. He's really good. But there's a scene where, they steal the gold dragon and they get caught. And Van Damme proves that he's even though he could just say, fuck you guys sold me, left me out to dry, that type of stuff. He says, I won't take the gold dragon. I want their freedom. Because otherwise they'd be killed. And he wins, of course. They're free. I like the very beginning of this movie where it's an older Van Damme. He's in some old age makeup. He's looking like he's pushing mid-70s to late 70s. He's talking like this, very slow and very quiet. And he's supposed to be 70. Van Damme, again, not the best thespian. He probably could have talked normal. But the thing is, he sits down, he has his cup of coffee. The guys come in, they're thugs. And it's a great little mini fight where he uses his cane to take them out. Again, great choreography. I couldn't tell you how many times I've watched The Quest. I like his rapport with the little kids. You know what I mean? He wants to get them off the street because after he wins, he goes back to New York, helps the kids. They're no longer homeless type of thing. So he is a good guy. He's a good character. And he reminded me of Leon from Lionheart. Really liked him. Really liked this film. And it's one that no one really talks about. It's very, very underrated. And I think more people should give it a chance because this was 95. I think Van Damme was really starting to fall down the mountain, the good mountain of hits and stuff like that because Street Fighter was a bomb. Time Cop was good, but he was slow. Like Street Fighter was a bomb. This was before Universal Soldier: The Return. He had a couple other ones in there, just weren't very successful. So he was kind of falling off his pedestal. But this is one I think people should give a chance. Really like it. The pace, super fast, super lean, doesn't drag. Highly, highly recommend The Quest. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment below if you've seen this movie. Love it, hate it, never heard of it. Give it a shot. Tell me what you think. 2 more days left. After this, I'm going to go watch Replicant, make a video on that one, and I'm going to end this one with a drama that I've never seen where Van Damme plays himself. JCVD plays himself as a failing actor, I guess, who knows he's over the hill and gets caught up in a bank robbery. No idea. And then after that, Fantastical February, nothing but fantasy movies. Yeah, that's it. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. Go check out The Quest, please. Cheers.